Okay, now that I've done my pre-writing, my brainstorming for evidence, I came up with a draft thesis here. How am I going to take this and turn it into my response, my writing assignment that is going to have all of these things in it? So you can add a page if you'd like to, write on a new page. Since I have these things here, actually I'm going to add a page. I'm going to put some things on it that I'm just going to gold writing assignment. Call it whatever you want. And then I'm going to copy some of the stuff that I want here. I'm going to copy my thesis statement and my chart and put it at the top so that I can see it. My pre-writing, then I'm also going to, I want to know these, I want to be able to reference these things that I've been told my response should have, a good response will. And I'm going to kind of analyze that, and hopefully maybe something's popping into your memory about a do what, because whenever I have any kind of assignment, really, any question, I want to know what am I supposed to do what, so I'm looking for those verbs. So over here I'm just going to do a little reminder to myself, do what? Question mark. So if I space that out, I can make my own little kind of T-chart here, just like you learned how to do last year. So what am I supposed to do? Well, give a short introduction. So give a short introduction. Now, I used my tab there. And you see how this has created kind of an automatic table for me with the tab key and also the return key. Short introduction, and really over here it tells me what should be in there in my introduction, title and author, brief summary. Then my second part, state a thesis. Clearly stated thesis. So I'm going to make sure I state my thesis. Hit return will give me a new line. Give specific evidence. Give specific evidence. And then also in that one I've got explain evidence thoroughly. And then I've got to conclude. And in that, I've hit another verb, so I'm really going to come down here, remind reader of the thesis. And I'm going to reflect. In a broader way. Now, in your do what, you may have constructed this a little differently at the bottom. This all goes together, my conclusion. So I might highlight that there in the same color, perhaps, so I know that's all coming together. My introduction, I know my thesis should go at the end of my introduction, so maybe I'll highlight these together. Also, maybe in a different color. And then in the middle, I'm going to have my evidence and explain it. Now, if you're thinking back to Paltree and Paltide, we're making a claim here. It's kind of a strong argument. So we've got evidence, and we do want to explain that evidence, but we also want to give our reasons. So I might add in here, I'm just going to make sure that we have our reasons. State our thesis. I also want to state my reasons for that thesis. Okay, so now I've got a good reference here for what needs to be in my writing. Okay, so come down here, start writing. So give a short introduction, names the title and the author, and a brief summary of what this is about. So I'll begin by tabbing over a new paragraph, which is the title of my poem. Let's see, Nothing Gold Can Stay, and that is the title of this poem, which is a shorter work, so I'm going to use my quotation marks there. Is a poem by Robert Frost. I might just end that there. The poem describes I want to say that it basically talks about how nothing can last forever. Describes, maybe just tells us. It tells us that nothing can last forever. The most valuable things, and I say valuable things because gold, when we think of gold, that's something that people would treasure. We even, lots of times, treasure is perhaps a pot of gold, or, we think of golden coins, so something very valuable. So the most valuable things in life do not last. Most valuable things in life, or might not last very long. And again, this is a draft. I will be changing this and changing it and moving things around. But to get started, I'm going to get my thoughts down. Now I see here that this is tabbed. I'm going to do spaces to get my spacing for my paragraph. The poem tells us that nothing can last forever. The most valuable things in life might not last very long at all. So I don't want to give it away because I'm going to use my evidence later, but maybe I could describe what Frost does. Frost gives the reader examples of a few of nature's fleeting, beautiful moments in order to develop maybe his message, something like that. Again, I will change it again and again, but does my introduction now do what it's supposed to do? It names the title and the author and gives a brief summary of what the poem is about. Yes, it does. Even though I might tweak it, it does that. So I'm going to move on to my thesis statement. So what was my thesis statement? I kind of got lost there in my summary. What did I say? Oh, that he ends the lid. Okay, so that goes along with what I'm saying, because I'm saying that his main point is. So I'm going to go up here and copy my thesis, and then I'll read it and see if it flows with everything else. Paste it right there. Usually your thesis is going to come at the end of your introduction. It's a nice transition to your evidence. So, in order to develop his message, Robert Frost ends the poem with the line, "Nothing gold can stay," because this is the idea he wants to leave with the reader. Okay, good enough. Still might tweak that, but that is his main point, his theme, so he puts it last. Okay, moving on. So I did this first one, I feel like. Maybe I'll check that off. My draft has that. I've got my thesis, answers the question. Now, give specific evidence from the text and explain it. Okay, I can do that. I'm going to do that in my next paragraph. So let's go to my reason. Throughout the entire poem, Frost gives examples of golden things that do not last. I might start this one with that idea, kind of bridging that gap. So just saying golden things, the person reading my answer, my response or essay, might think, well, what kind of golden things are you talking about? Jewelry or what? But not really. So I might start with that. Gold is a symbol of something very valuable. Gold is a symbol of something that very valuable. People seeking treasure often speak of finding, let's say you're seeking, should we say wealth, speak of finding the pot of gold. Makes me think of leprechauns and the end of the rainbow. So I want to segue into my reasons. Robert Frost uses this symbol to represent another type of valuable. I'll say another type of value. Frost finds worth in nature, the beautiful moments in life. Are valuable, but they are also fleeting. So I feel like I'm getting a little too wordy here in explanation. I kind of need to tighten that up with my reason. But I can do that when I go back and cross things out. So let's get on to, because I've gone on too long without any evidence there. So my reason that I think that he ends with the line to leave us, with the thought that nothing gold can stay. Let's see, beautiful moments in life are valuable, but they are all also fleeting. This is Frost's, or I should say, this is the theme of Nothing Gold Can Stay. Therefore, let's just leave it there. That's my. This is the theme of Nothing Gold Can Stay. Therefore, Frost uses these phrases. I'm going to back that up. Frost. That's why he used it then. Frost uses the line, "Nothing gold can stay," at the end of the poem because this is the theme of the poem. Frost develops this theme throughout with several examples. Okay, so that's going to lead me into my evidence there. So I can use that. Nature's first green is gold. Her hardest hue to hold. So I'm going to put that quote there. This line describes a sunrise, casting a golden hue across a landscape, let's say. First thing in the morning, this golden vision does not last long. That's why he puts the hardest hue to hold. Then our next quote, Frost makes an allusion to the Bible with the line, "So Eden sank to grief." The Garden of Eden in the Bible had everything that Adam and Eve needed, but it did not last. So Frost doesn't really, that's what happens with an allusion. You don't have to explain the whole story because it is such a well-known story. This is true when you make allusions to Bible stories, also Greek myths, because they are so well-known that you can just mention them and most readers will understand what that reference is all about. And then finally, so dawn goes down today. So dawn goes down today. Is a line. I keep saying line, so I need to fix that. So So Dawn, maybe I'll instead of starting with the quote this time. Frost gives an example of time moving on with, say, an example, let's see, that each and every reader will be able to relate to. Frost gives an example that each and every reader will be able to relate to. That's kind of wordy, so I'm going to say gives an extremely relatable example of, so with the line, so dawn goes down today. All people experience the inevitable dawn turning into day, as beautiful and peaceful as a dawn might be. It always will always turn into a day, which then turns into night, and on and on. I gotta check my grammar there and make sure I've got it all right, but for now I'm getting my ideas down. So then I want to move on to my conclusion. I'm saying it again. In conclusion, I don't know if I'm going to say that. Nothing gold can stay. It's a short but powerful poem. It quickly forms or illustrates, let's see, it beautifully and simply, I would say, simply illustrates the idea that even the most valuable treasured, maybe, like that, because I kind of talked about treasure and gold and that relationship there, so using the word treasured now, I like that. It beautifully and simply illustrates the idea that even the most treasured things in life will come to an end. I don't think it's a sad poem though, so I might put that here, without sadness. Frost gives us glimpses, because there's kind of little snippets and pictures, glimpses of nature's finest moments, all of which I want to say are fleeting, but I already said that, so I'm going to go up to my review. Put fleeting in here. Brief, short-lived, short-lived, momentary passing, evanescent, transient. I like short-lived, all of which are short-lived. I'm going to state my thesis again. My thesis, I got to go back up here to it and highlight that. Because the idea, this is the idea he wants to leave with the reader. So maybe, without sadness, Frost gives us glimpses of nature's finest moments, all of which are short-lived. This theme is perfectly stated in his title, Nothing Gold Can Stay. No, I'd say not as well. In the phrase, this theme is perfectly stated in the phrase, nothing gold can stay. Therefore, it is the, I'm going to say perfect way, but I'm not, that's kind of too perfect. Perfect. It's fitting, faultless, flawless. I would say fitting. Let's see if there's anything fitting. Appropriate, suitable, right, correct. Yeah, that's what I want to say. Decent, timely, relevant, fitting. Therefore, it is a most fitting end for this poem. Again, this is a draft, so I may tweak that here. So, I'll make sure I know that's a paragraph. There's my spaces. 5 spaces at the beginning is the same thing as tabbing over. That's a good paragraph indentation. So I'm going to read the whole thing, and I'll get to my revising and editing. Nothing Gold Can Stay is a poem by Robert Frost. The poem tells us that nothing can last forever. The most valuable things in life might not last very long at all. Frost gives the reader examples of a few of nature's fleeting, beautiful moments in order to develop his message. Robert Frost ends the poem with the line, nothing gold can stay, because this is the idea that he wants to leave with the reader. There's my thesis. Gold is a symbol of something very valuable. People seeking wealth often speak of finding the pot of gold. Robert Frost uses this symbol to represent another type of value. Frost finds worth in nature. The beautiful moments in life are valuable, but they are also fleeting. Frost uses the line, nothing gold can stay, at the end of the poem because this is the theme of the poem. Okay, so that's where I have brought my thesis in again here, and that I'm about to prove. Frost develops this theme throughout with several examples. Nature's first green is gold, her hardest hue to hold. This line describes the sunrise casting a golden hue across the landscape first thing in the morning. This golden vision does not last long. Frost makes an allusion to the Bible with the line, so Eden sank to grief. The Garden of Eden in the Bible had everything that Adam and Eve needed, but it did not last. Frost gives an extremely relatable example with the line, so dawn goes down today. All people experience the inevitable dawn turning into day. As beautiful and peaceful as the dawn might be, it will always turn into a day, which then turns into night, and on and on. And then my conclusion. Nothing Gold Can Stay is a short but powerful poem. It beautifully and simply illustrates the idea that even the most treasured things in life will come to an end. Without sadness, Frost gives us glimpses of nature's finest moments, all of which are short-lived. This theme is perfectly stated in the phrase, nothing gold can stay. So I'm saying in the phrase. I'm going to maybe put quotes around that. Therefore, it is a most fitting end for the poem. Okay, did I go back? Do I now have specific evidence? Yes. Did I explain it? Yes. Supporting my reasoning and my thesis. And then did I conclude and reflect in some broader way? I did reflect in a broader way because I talk about the most treasured things in life will come to an end. So that's kind of means the big picture, big thoughts there. I did that. Okay, now it would be on to revising and editing, rereading, moving around. Did I use his name too much? Can I use Mr. Frost? Do I need to change those sorts of things? And then also my grammar, are all my quotation marks in the right place, commas, periods, and that sort of thing. But I have a good start. I have a draft. So good luck with your draft.